What are the pros and cons of starting your career, would you say, at like a large company right out of college?
Some of the cons are, yes, it's a big company. Yes, you can feel small, you can feel humbled. You may not have a giant paycheck at the very beginning. Might have to kind of you might have some self-starting you're going to need to work on. Like, okay, my boss is sort of checked out. What should I be doing today? But if you aren't a self-starter, you might not feel like you're successful in a large company because you may need to be working and seeing around corners and being deeply observant in order to start to feel successful early on at a big company. Um, it's a really interesting time. You have to have some patience, and you you have the opportunity to say, is this what I really want to be doing? Because there's some tedium early on in big companies. That's just the reality of it. It's kind of a long game. It's like a mutual fund instead of a hedge fund. You're in it to understand and learn something bigger, and it takes a little longer. The pros so outweigh the cons, again, depending upon the company. If you're in the right sector or the right industry, the pros are definitely, if you start a little bit early, you get to see the gears. You're like inside the clock, and you get to see how everything kind of works. The stakes are sort of low. You may or may not have a huge scope of responsibility early on, but if you're smart, you're going to be paying attention. You're going to be understanding what kind of leaders have been impactful to you, what kind of leaders you think, I don't want to be that kind of leader. Or you may want to think about mentors and networking, because you will never meet more people than at a really big company pretty quickly. It's all of a sudden you kind of have a spider web of people, and you should take advantage of it. And the other thing about a big company is you can often see a lot about the sector or the industry you're in. You have the advantage of the size and scope and scale of a giant company. They know their competitors. You can understand an entire sector when you're at a big company. You might be the biggest of the big companies in a certain sector, and therefore you're the leader, Amazon. But you also might be, constantly vying for shelf space or market space or customers, and you learn a lot about the whole industry if you're paying attention. So I do find a big company beneficial for its, think of it like a graduate program. And to the earlier conversations at Amazon, a lot of big companies have internship programs or training programs, or a lot of they bring on students out of good schools who have an interest or a passion. So that is a big pro for working at a kind of a large company from the jump. The stakes are lower. You may not be doing surgery your first day kind of thing, but it's been worth it for me. It really helped me be a better entrepreneur in the same space 15 years later.